I'm accused all the time of being a futurist, and I spend a lot of my energy at talks sort of like this not being a futurist. I don't actually think you can predict the future. That's part of what we do at X, is try to make the future as a group rather than know ahead of time what the right answer is. But I'm going to make an exception today because of your theme. So, the future, 10 little ideas for you that I'm fairly confident are true. The first is that the future is coming at you faster than you think. And I don't mean by that you're going to wake up tomorrow, literally the theme of your conference, and discover that it's the future. Flying cars and things like that. I don't think we're ever going to get flying cars at this point because they were promising that to our grandparents. But the future is going to find you over the next 10 years faster than you think. So 10 years ago, there were no smartphones. That doesn't seem possible now because there are billions of people who have smartphones. But 10 years ago, there were 0 smartphones in the entire world. That's what the future used to be like. It used to take 10 years for the future to come find you. But that's not how it's going to be, because the future is speeding up. And what I mean by that is that the future has the opportunity to stand on the shoulders of the present. Every technology that we build creates an opportunity for us to build more faster because of the new tools that we have. It used to be the case that your grandparents had maybe 2 careers in their whole lives. Your parents had maybe 3.5 careers, sort of depending. You're going to go to college, and there will be jobs waiting for you by the time you're done with college that don't have names for those careers the day you start college. That's how fast things are changing. And so when I say change is the new norm, I mean it used to be the case that you would get into your life, and it felt a little bit like an airplane. You could feel the pressure in the back of your seat as you took off, but once you were flying, you were just going. It was mostly smooth, and then there were occasional bumps. It's not going to feel like that for you guys. For your entire lives, you're going to feel that pressure in the back of your seat. You're just going to keep speeding up. And the thing that's going to cause you to be successful, and the thing that's going to cause you to be happy, is getting okay with change being the thing that is normal in your life, rather than hoping for some kind of stability. It's like riding a bicycle. If you stay still on the bicycle, it's incredibly hard to stay up. But if you keep moving, it's actually pretty easy to balance on a bicycle. I think that's how you're going to find the future. I'm going to try not to predict technology too much, but this one I'm pretty sure of. We're used today to thinking of these electronic things that we have as having more and more intelligence, solving more and more of our problems for us. But there's 2 worlds. There's the physical world and there's the digital world. And you have to pick between them. And that way of thinking, that dichotomy, is about to disappear. So I'm confident that you're going to find in the near future that the physical world will start to take on intelligence. We will embed intelligence, that is the ability to think, to sense, and to act in various ways into the physical things in our lives. So it doesn't make any sense, maybe for us today, to think about it this way, but when you walk up to a coffee maker 10 years from now, why would you press a button to say how much coffee you want? What a weird thing to do, we'll think 10 years from now. The coffee maker should just know how much coffee you've already had and how your body is feeling and how much coffee you actually need to make yourself just the right amount perky without getting kind of nervous about it. That's what the coffee maker is going to do 10 years from now. And we're going to have intelligence in chairs. We're going to have intelligence in the cups that we drink from. And that seems like the future. But I promise you that in 10 years, that's the way it's going to be. That we will have erased this distinction between the internet, which we dive into in this ethereal, disembodied way, or being in the physical world, that the intelligence and the connectivity of the internet is going to come and be with us much more constantly in the physical world. So, um, there's a lot of talk, as you've probably heard, about the fear of robots. I suppose there's, at one level, the fear of robots as sort of Terminators coming to get you. But even if you leave that fear aside, there's the fear of robots that they're going to take our jobs, that they're somehow going to dehumanize us as they sort of take over the world, or anyway are more present in the world. And I totally don't buy that. I think you are all probably very comfortable at this point with the idea that computers are levers for our minds. These things help us to think. They take grunt work off of us so that we can think bigger thoughts, we can think faster thoughts. People used to have to go talk to a reference librarian to find something out instead of just going to Google. And while I'm a little bit sorry for the reference librarians that they don't get visited as much, presumably for most of you, that's a good thing that you can find out an answer in 5 seconds instead of 50 minutes. The physical world is going to give that to us too. If we stop thinking about robots as mechanical people who are going to take jobs away from us, but think instead about robots as being the physical equivalent of computers, things that can be levers for our bodies the way computers are levers for our minds, I think we'll be a lot more excited about the world. The robots are going to be here, and I don't just mean robots in the mechanical man sense. I mean robots in the more general sense of things that have sensing and computation and actuation. They're going to be everywhere, and the more that we can learn how to use them as levers for our minds and for our bodies, the happier you'll end up being in your future. So, speed will replace these structural advantages. I mean this in both the sense of the physical world. So imagine a car. When you build a car, you have to build it strong because the presumption is that it's going to smash into a brick wall at some point or a head-on collision with some other car. And so it needs a lot of steel very carefully placed around the car. So when it smashes into the wall, the person inside is okay. That is a structural advantage. But if you could embed enough intelligence into the car, if its reaction time could be faster relative to its stopping distance, maybe we could just have it not hit the brick wall. If we don't need and if we don't have the fear that it will hit the brick wall, then we can take the steel out, not all of it, but much of it, out of the car. We can make it lighter and more fuel efficient. But I mean this also in the sense that there has been historically this presumption for organizations, particularly for businesses, that structural advantages are what make the opportunities continue for a company. You have the regulatory approval for your product, and I don't. So you're going to win, and I'm going to lose. You have the patents on your product, and I don't. So you're going to win, and I'm going to lose. Those kinds of things won't be untrue 10 years from now, but they're going to be a lot less important. Speed is turning out to eat those things. Because if it takes 5 years to get a patent, and you can go from an idea to having a successful business, possibly even cashing out of that successful business within 5 years, the patent won't even be issued yet. The patent isn't completely without purpose, but it's somehow less important than it used to be by that point. And I think you will find that in your future, speed is going to be so important that resisting that will put you on the wrong side of history, and getting with the speed, enjoying speed, seeing speed as sort of the ultimate weapon will, I think, make the future more fun for you. If I was going to start a company today, one of the things I would look for is someone to say, well, that's kind of a good idea in all other ways, but you'd need like 100 or 1,000 times as much computation in order for that to work. But otherwise, it's a good idea. You should go start that business right now. You should bet your careers and what you study in school on this being true, that there's going to be essentially infinite computation for free, and it's going to be embedded into the world. Now, it won't literally be infinite, and it won't literally be free, but it's going to be closer than you think. 100 times as much computation for 100th as much money, 10,000 times the computation per dollar. That'll be true or close to true within 10 years. So I think people are massively underestimating the extent to which this is true and the extent to which this is going to dominate what the future turns out to be. If there's infinite computation, essentially for free, then we're going to have computers and robots starting to solve more of our problems for us, more automatically. You'll stop saying, I need to design this strut for a car. You'll just say to a computer, I need a strut for the car that has these characteristics. And the computer's going to design it for you. That's already starting to happen. If that happens, and it is happening, if that's the future, then we're going to move from a society where the value is produced by doing the design, by making the thing. It will become asking the right questions. I think people are worried that we're all going to not have jobs because computers are going to solve all the problems we have. I actually think that that's to some extent true. But the world is not going to run out of problems. The world is not going to run out of interesting questions. And the people who are adding value and the people who are having fun are mostly going to be the people who have great questions, who can come up with interesting new ways to see the world and new problems for us to think about. So, this one's a little bit more political, but I believe that this one's true. Right now, people are talking as though we live in a post-truth world. And I don't believe that that's true. If you think I'm wrong, take a drunken party pic and put it online somewhere and wait about 4 years. And in the middle of applying to your first job, you will discover that the world has a very long memory and can be very unforgiving about those things. I would like to think that even though very temporarily we seem to have lost our minds about truth and reputation as a society, that we're going to recover our minds, and that the flip side of some of the paranoia around the internet remembering everything is that the internet can remember everything. And I'm hopeful that in the future, I'm confident that in the future, we're going to have better and better mechanisms for tracking what you said and what I said over time, so that our reputations and how that relates to our truthiness actually can be part of our personal brands. I think that's going to be good for the world, and I think people are going to find ways to do that, partly because they're upset about the way things are going right now. Sort of on the same topic, if the world is speeding up, it's going faster and faster and faster, there's going to be a lot of different in the world. If it's not about the solutions anymore, but it's about asking great questions, the world's going to be about different. And I know that we live in a world right now where it seems like xenophobia is winning, fear of the other, fear of the unknown. But that's kryptonite. To be afraid of different. Different is going to be the superpower of the future. Seeing the world differently, asking new questions. If you're afraid of different, you're not going to embrace speed. You want to slow down, not speed up. And you'll be left behind. The people who embrace different are the same people who will embrace speed, are the same people who are going to be comfortable with change as the new normal. So I would recommend, I'm sure you guys are already there, but I think future is going to be more fun if you embrace the different. And then the one I want to leave you with is, I think that there's some talk as though the future just somehow got decided, that there was this tension between xenophobia and fear of the different, that there was a tension between those kinds of things, that zero-sum game kind of thinking, and being open-minded and being positive and being open to the idea that abundance could be the rule of the future, rather than negativity or some kind of I win, you lose kind of thinking. It's possible that that first way of thinking will win, but it's not definite. And I think the thing that's going to determine whether or not open-mindedness or closed-mindedness wins is what you do. It's not what you want, it's what you do that will matter. Not just any one of you, but all of you, all of us taken together. If you embrace speed, if you embrace change, if you embrace different, I actually do believe that the future can be an incredibly abundant and positive place. And I hope that the future is going to be a wild ride, whether you enjoy it or not. But I think if you do those things, you can have a great time on the ride. Thank you very much.